Hello, everyone. I wanted to, I'm not going to show the videos because there's a lot of videos out here of Darrell Brooks' mother, speaking out. She wanted to share her thoughts on on her son being convicted on all 76 charges on Tuesday. A lot of people have been following the trial. So, you can actually go to different YouTube channels or different, Google it, and you will see that she's speaking out, and this is from WISN 12 ABC News. So she is actually speaking out, and what she says is that she's really not surprised by the verdict. I know my son. I know it wasn't intentional, is what Don Woods says to them, the reporter from WISN 12 News. And now, so the mother of Darrell Brooks says the trial has been difficult for her to process and said her son is mentally unwell. Now, Brooks was convicted Tuesday on 76 charges, as I stated, related to the Waukesha Christmas parade attack. Now, his mother wanted to share her thoughts with the victims and their families. She talks about the hate will stop, the hate mail will stop, the hate emails that I've been receiving will stop, and people's hearts began to heal. My heart still goes out to the family, my condolences to all of them, but I hope that they can begin to heal, Don Wood said. Don Wood said she did not watch the verdict live, but learned from loved ones of her son's conviction and said she's not surprised. When your son, and so the news reporter Reinwald asked her, when your son said this wasn't intentional, did you believe him? And she responds, I know my son. I know it wasn't intentional, Wood said. People who are mentally ill need help and community, family, loved ones. The court system needs to give them the help that they need. Now, Wood says she did speak with her son Tuesday, although she wouldn't share what she said, saying that needs to stay between a mother and son. Brooks will be back in court Monday afternoon for a scheduling conference as the court plans for his sentencing. Now, I want to kind of talk about this because I'm hearing what the mother is saying, and most mothers feel that they know their children, right? Whether they're children or whether they're adult children, they feel that they know their children. And she's saying that this wasn't intentional. But I want to be clear on this because I followed the trial, and it was on a channel, Law and Crime. I'll say I followed it on that channel, and that is where I followed it. And so what I seen in the courtroom and what the mother is saying, I'm gonna tell you the truth, it doesn't line up with me, and that's my opinion. And I know it's got to be difficult for this mother to be going through what her son did and how the people in the world view her son, Mr. Brooks, and how they view her. And being that he had some other things going on in his background, some convictions that he had, and he had actually impregnated a 15-year-old at the time, which was statutory. Was they that was considered, um, a crime that he committed because she was a minor at the time. And so, and there was other things, that he had done. And so, when she says that it was not intentional, in my opinion, from what I saw in the court, it would be hard for me not to believe that it wasn't intentional. He was angry. He had been fighting with his girlfriend, and you know, it was like there was no stopping him. And just his behavior in the courtroom did not show favor uh, towards him. He lacked court decorum. He was rebellious. He was disrespectful. Uh, he wasn't cooperative on many times in the courtroom, many levels, argumentative. He represented himself as a sovereign citizen, as he stated. He didn't want to go by the name Darrell Brooks. Uh, he got rid of his counsel early on, public defenders. He declined the psychological evaluation. He didn't even want the co-counsel to sit there in case he had questions. There was a lot of things that happened if you followed the trial. that took place in that courtroom. And I believe that the judge was very patient, in my opinion, and what I witnessed, very patient. And all of the outbursts that you know, he, all of the outbursts that he had. And not one time did I see or hear remorse for the victims that he ran over. And there was several of them, and I didn't see any remorse. Even in his opening statement, um, I didn't see any remorse. Did he cry? Yes, those were real tears because I think he recognized what was going to happen. He recognized his fate. And the other thing is like he was playing this game that he thought he was going to win with this judge, and how he kept trying to say things that were inappropriate in front of the jurors. And the judge had to keep moving the jurors out back and forth. And I'm sure they were pretty tired and exhausted from all of this back and forth, including pretty much the judge, and how he mixed up laws and misstated facts and misstated things and badgered the witness a lot on the stand when his witnesses, and how he um, was you're a sovereign citizen. You don't want to abide by the laws, but then you want to keep quoting the Constitution to say that you have rights. So there was a lot that went on with this trial with him and what was going on and how he presented himself in that courtroom. He lacked the decorum and the, you know, um, what should have took place. And so I go on to say here that, um, you know, I didn't even really uh, realize that his mother was receiving all of this hate, uh, correspondence and things like that. Um, you know, for whatever reason, they did that to her. Um, you know, and it is going to be difficult, but people can get through it. The condolences for the families that have lost loved ones. Um, she said she couldn't watch the verdict because it was too, um, that it was just probably too hard for her. She didn't watch it live, but she learned about it and she wasn't surprised. But she still believes that, it wasn't intentional. But she also goes on to say that, you know, um, that the court system needs to give people the help that they need while they're behind bars. And I have a question about, you know, when did he start showing these signs? Because she said he's mental. She said mental illness. So when did he start showing the signs of mental illness? Was it when he was a child? Was it when he was a teenager? Was it when he was an young adult? When did he start showing signs of mental illness? That's a question that I would like an answer to, because she's saying that the court needs to do this. But what happened prior to, what happened on that particular day at the Waukesha Christmas parade? So when did she start to notice signs of mental illness? Did she ever get him help? Did she ever pursue help for him, or even talk with him to get the help that he needed? Was he on medication? Those are a lot of questions that, that people can ask, because she's putting it on the court system that they should give him the help that he needs, or them the help that they need. But what about her prior to this incident that happened, prior to, him running, ramming, driving through, excuse me, her SUV through that crowd of people? Uh, you know, so where do we, hold accountability ourselves when we place it on the government? But what about prior to that? Did she try to get him help? And so those are just some questions that I have. Um, and what she stated was that she did speak to him, but that needs to stay between the mother and son. Well, she didn't have to share it, and she could have just stated that, yes, I spoke with him, but I prefer not to share it, because it's almost like that she's saying, well, you're asking me, but what I said what we talked about needs to stay between the mother and son. I feel that, if you feel that you don't need to discuss it, just say that that you just feel that is privileged information that not everyone needs to have access to or have. You don't need to share it and be done with that. But anyway, those are some questions that I have, because we easily can say, somebody else needs to take care of something or someone else needs to do something. But still, my question is that when when were these signs? When did he start showing signs of mental illness? And um, did he receive any help in the past? And was he on medication? Was he off his medication? And when did she start recognizing those signs? So, again, hopefully that the families can start to heal, from what is transpiring. I'm sure it's going to take some time. And I saw a video where a young girl actually, um, she actually still has a lot of uh, trauma from from what happened with her, one of the injured parties, but she's actually out there participating in dancing or something. They showed a video of that, and it's on YouTube as well. So praying that the families can go ahead and continue to move forward now that the conviction has been, now that the verdict is in, and then also, he was going to, pretty sure, ask for an appeal, you know, uh, an appeal. And, we know that appeals are not always granted. So that's another thing. Appeals are not always granted. And so uh, that may be, for another topic, about appeals and discussing, do you believe that he will be granted an appeal? Now, that's a question I will ask you all. Do you believe that appeal will be granted? And do you believe that he should be granted an appeal? So, two questions. Uh, do you believe that an appeal should be granted? Uh, and do you believe, uh, yeah, that was my question. I'm sorry. Do you believe an appeal should be granted? Um, and do you believe really that he received a fair trial? Because there were some things also about, well, they knew that the judge knew he wasn't competent to represent himself, um, and about the psychological eval. But that's within his constitutional rights to represent himself. And he chose to do that. And he declined his counsel. He got rid of them. And the fact is, he declined a psychological eval as well. And he talked about his rights a lot, his constitutional rights. So, if a person is saying, these are my rights and I'm going to represent myself, then you have to allow them to do so. So just leave your respectful comments below. I would love to hear what you all have to say about this. Uh, what are your thoughts on this? I would like to know that. Thank you all for tuning in. God bless you.